Our 10th anniversary. I'd planned dinner at Marcello's, the Italian place where I proposed. Reservation at 7 p.m., her favorite table by the window. I left work early, stopped at the jeweler for the bracelet I'd been paying off for 6 months, and headed home to change. She wasn't there. I called, straight to voicemail. Texted, nothing. That's when I remembered the app. We'd installed Find My Phone on each other's devices years ago, just in case, she'd said, for emergencies. I opened it. Her phone was moving, away from our house, away from downtown, toward the east side, the cheap side. I watched the blue dot crawl across the map and stop. Starlight Motel, Route 9, the kind of place that rents rooms by the hour. My hands went numb. I sat in my truck in our driveway, staring at that dot, and felt 10 years of marriage crack down the middle. Then I did something I'd never done before. I drove to a flower shop, bought the biggest arrangement they had, roses, lilies, the works, and I wrote a note. The florist asked, "What would you like it to say?" I smiled. "Happy anniversary. Your husband knows. Room 237. She looked at me. "Sir, are you—" "Just deliver it," I said. "Room 237, Starlight Motel, within the hour." I paid cash, tipped her $100 to make sure it got there. Then I sat in my truck across the street from that motel and waited. If you want to know what happened when those flowers arrived, hit subscribe, because what I saw through that motel window changed everything. My name is Nathan Cross. I'm 38 years old, and I live in Asheville, North Carolina. I'm a project manager for a mid-sized construction firm. I wake up at 5:30 a.m., make coffee in the dark, and leave the house before the sun comes up. I work hard, I pay my bills, I fix things that break. I'm the kind of man people call reliable. For 10 years, I thought that was enough. I thought showing up every day, bringing home a steady paycheck, and keeping my promises made me a good husband. I thought my wife, Lauren, saw it that way too. Turns out, reliability doesn't keep someone warm at night. And showing up doesn't mean anything if the person you're showing up for stopped caring years ago. Lauren and I met in college, UNC Asheville. She was studying marketing, I was in engineering. We met at a house party junior year. She laughed at my jokes. I loved the way she tilted her head when she listened. We dated for 3 years. Got married right after graduation. Small wedding, backyard reception, her parents' house. We didn't have much money, but we had plans. She wanted to work for a big agency. I wanted to build things that lasted. We rented a tiny apartment in West Asheville, shared a car, ate ramen, and called it an adventure. Those were good years. We stayed up late talking about the future. Kids, a house with a porch, trips we'd take when we finally had money.
I thought we were building something. I thought we were on the same team. The cracks started small. Around year 5, Lauren got a job at a marketing firm downtown. Good salary, benefits, room to grow. She started working late. Big campaign, she'd say. Client dinner. I didn't question it, and I trusted her. Around year 7, she started going to the gym more. New clothes, new haircut. "I just want to feel good about myself," she said. I told her she looked great. I meant it. Around year 8, the sex stopped. Not all at once, just gradually, like a faucet turning off drip by drip until one day you realize the sink's been dry for months. I tried talking about it. She said she was stressed, tired. "It's not you, Nathan. I'm just overwhelmed." I backed off, gave her space. I thought I was being supportive. What I was really doing was giving her room to drift away. By year 9, we were roommates. We shared a house, a bed, a mortgage, but we didn't share a life. She had her routine, I had mine. Mornings, I'd leave before she woke up. Evenings, she'd come home after I had already eaten. Weekends, she had brunch with friends. I had projects in the garage. We were polite. We didn't fight. We just existed in parallel. I told myself it was normal, that all marriages go through phases. I told myself we'd reconnect, eventually. I told myself a lot of things that weren't true. Our 10th anniversary was on a Saturday, October 14th. I'd been planning it for weeks. Dinner at Marcello's, the same restaurant where I'd proposed 10 years earlier. I'd called ahead, requested the same table by the window, the one with the view of the mountains. I'd picked up the bracelet I'd been making payments on, white gold, her birthstone engraved with our anniversary date. I even took the afternoon off work, something I almost never did. I wanted it to be perfect. I wanted to remind her, and maybe myself, why we'd started this in the first place. I got home around 4 p.m. The house was empty. No note, no text. I called her, straight to voicemail. I texted, "Hey, reservations at 7, you getting ready?" No response. I waited 20 minutes, tried again. Nothing. That's when the unease started creeping in. Lauren was a lot of things, but she wasn't careless. She always answered her phone. Always. Unless she didn't want to. I sat on the edge of our bed, phone in my hand, staring at the screen. That's when I remembered. 2 years ago, after a friend's car broke down on a road trip, Lauren suggested we install Find My Phone on each other's devices. Just in case, she'd said, so we can always find each other if something happens. I agreed. It seemed smart, practical. I opened the app. Her phone was active, moving. I watched the blue dot crawl across the map, away from downtown, away from our neighborhood, east, toward the industrial part of town. Then it stopped. Starlight Motel, Route 9.
I stared at the screen. The Starlight wasn't a place you went for a vacation. It wasn't even a place you went for a decent night's sleep. It was the kind of motel you saw in crime documentaries. Peeling paint, neon sign with half the letters burned out, hourly rates. The kind of place you only went if you didn't want to be found. I sat there for a long time. My brain tried to come up with explanations. Maybe she was helping a friend. Maybe there was some work thing I didn't know about. Maybe... But I couldn't finish the thought, because deep down I knew. I'd known for a while. I just hadn't wanted to see it. I stood up, pocketed my phone, grabbed my keys. I didn't plan what I was going to do. I just moved. I got in my truck and started driving. Not toward the motel, not yet. Toward downtown. There was a flower shop on Lexington. I'd passed it 1,000 times. I pulled into the lot, walked inside. The woman behind the counter looked up. "Can I help you?" "I need your biggest arrangement," I said. "Roses, lilies, whatever looks expensive." She smiled. "Anniversary?" "Something like that." She started pulling flowers, arranging them in a massive vase. "What would you like the card to say?" I paused. Thought about 10 years. Thought about the bracelet in my pocket. Thought about the empty house and the blue dot on my phone. "Happy anniversary," I said. "Your husband knows. Room 237. Her hand stopped moving. She looked up at me. "Sir, are you sure?" "I'm sure," I said. "Starlight Motel, Route 9, Room 237. I need it delivered within the hour." She hesitated, then nodded. "Okay." I paid cash. $200 for the flowers, $100 tip to make sure it got there fast. Then I walked out, got back in my truck, and drove to the Starlight. The Starlight Motel looked worse in person than it did on the map. Single story, L-shaped, parking lot full of potholes and cigarette butts. A neon sign buzzed above the office. Vacancy. The V was dark. I parked across the street in the lot of an abandoned gas station. From there, I had a clear view of the second-floor walkway. Room 237 was on the far end. Door closed, curtains drawn. Lauren's car was parked 3 spots down. I recognized the dent in the bumper from when she'd backed into a mailbox last year. Next to it was a black Audi, sleek, expensive. I didn't recognize it. I sat there, engine off, hands on the wheel. Part of me wanted to walk up there, kick the door in, confront her. But another part, the part that had been a project manager for 15 years, knew that wasn't the play. You don't walk onto a job site without a plan. You assess, you document, you build your case. So I waited.
20 minutes later, a white van pulled into the lot, the flower shop logo on the side. The delivery driver, a young woman, maybe 25, got out, pulled the massive arrangement from the back, and checked her phone.
She looked up at the room numbers, found 237, and walked up the stairs. I watched her knock. The door opened. A man answered, tall, mid-40s, dress shirt unbuttoned at the collar. I didn't recognize him. The driver handed him the flowers, said something. He looked confused. Then he looked at the card. His face changed. He turned, said something to someone inside the room. A moment later, Lauren appeared in the doorway. Even from across the street, I could see her face go pale. She took the card from his hand, read it. Her mouth moved. I couldn't hear the words, but I could read the panic. She looked around, frantic, searching the parking lot. I didn't move. The man grabbed her arm, pulled her back inside. The door slammed shut. The delivery driver stood there for a moment, then walked back to her van and drove away. I sat in my truck, heart pounding, and realized something. I wasn't angry. I wasn't even hurt. I was calm, because for the first time in years, I knew exactly what I was dealing with. I didn't go up to the room. I didn't need to. I'd seen enough. Instead, I pulled out my phone and opened the camera. I took photos, Lauren's car, the Audi, the room number. Then I opened Find My Phone again and took a screenshot, time-stamped, location confirmed. I saved everything to a cloud folder, backed it up twice. Then I started the truck and drove home. I sat in my driveway for a long time. The house looked the same as it had 2 hours ago. Same porch light, same flower pots Lauren had planted last spring. But it didn't feel like home anymore. It felt like a crime scene. I walked inside. The silence was deafening. I went to the bedroom, opened Lauren's nightstand. I wasn't sure what I was looking for, just something. I found it in the back of the drawer, under a stack of old magazines. A second phone. Cheap, prepaid, the kind you buy at a gas station with cash. I turned it on. No password. The messages loaded. Hundreds of them, all to the same number. I scrolled through. Can't wait to see you. He's working late again. We have time. I'm so tired of pretending. The most recent message was from this morning. Starlight, room 237, 4 p.m. Happy anniversary to us. I set the phone down, sat on the edge of the bed, and for the first time in 10 years, I let myself feel it. Not the betrayal, not the anger, the relief. Because now I knew, and knowing meant I could finally move forward. I didn't sleep that night. I sat at the kitchen table with a yellow legal pad and started making a list. Not an emotional list, a practical one. 1. Lawyer. 2. Bank accounts. 3. Separate finances. 4. Document everything. 5. Don't engage. I'd managed construction projects worth millions of dollars. I knew how to build a plan. This was just another project. The only difference was this time I was demolishing instead of building. Around 2 a.m., I heard a car pull into the driveway. The front door opened, closed. Footsteps in the hallway. Lauren appeared in the kitchen doorway. Her makeup was smudged. Her hair was a mess. She looked at me. I looked at her. For a long moment, neither of us spoke. Then she said, "Nathan." I held up a hand. "Don't." "I can explain." "I don't want to hear it." Her face crumpled. "Please, just let me—" "How long?" I asked. She froze. "How long, Lauren?" She looked down. 2 years. 2 years. I nodded slowly. "Who is he?" "It doesn't matter." "Who is he?" She swallowed. "His name is Derek. He's a client." "A client?"
Nathan, it wasn't supposed to happen. It just... Stop, I said. My voice was calm, too calm. I don't want the story. I don't want the excuses. I just want you to know that I know. She stared at me. What are you going to do? I stood up, picked up the legal pad. I'm going to bed. You can sleep in the guest room. Tomorrow we'll talk about how this ends. Nathan! I walked past her, didn't look back. Behind me, I heard her start to cry. I didn't stop. The next morning, I called a lawyer. His name was Richard Moss, a guy I'd worked with on a commercial project 2 years ago. Tough, smart, no nonsense. Nathan, he said when he picked up, what's going on? I need a divorce attorney. There was a pause. I'm sorry to hear that. Don't be. I just need someone who's good. I know someone, best in Asheville. Her name's Andrea Calloway. I'll text you her number. Thanks, Richard. Nathan, he said before I could hang up, whatever you're feeling right now, don't make any big moves until you talk to her, okay? Okay. I met Andrea that afternoon. Her office was downtown, clean, professional, walls lined with law books. She was in her 50s, sharp eyes, firm handshake. Tell me what happened, she said. I told her, all of it, the app, the motel, the flowers, the second phone. She took notes, didn't interrupt. When she finished, she set down her pen. Do you have proof? I pulled out my phone, showed her the screenshots, the photos, the messages from the burner phone. She scrolled through, nodded. This is good. This is very good. What happens now? Now, she said, we file. North Carolina is a no-fault state, but adultery still matters, especially when it comes to alimony and asset division. I don't want to drag this out, I said. I just want it done. Understood. But Nathan, you need to be smart about this. Don't leave the house, don't give her ammunition, and whatever you do, don't let her know you've lawyered up until we're ready to file. How long will that take? A week, maybe 2. I'll draft everything, and then we'll serve her. I nodded. Okay. She leaned forward. One more thing. How are you doing, emotionally? I thought about it. I'm fine. You're not fine, she said gently. No one's fine after this, but you will be, eventually. I stood up, shook her hand. Thank you. We'll get through this, she said.
For the next 10 days, I lived in my own house like a ghost. Lauren tried to talk to me. I didn't engage. She cried. I didn't respond. She asked if we could go to counseling. I said no. Nathan, please, we can fix this. There's nothing to fix, I said. It's already broken. I made a mistake. You made a choice, I corrected. For 2 years. That's not a mistake. That's a decision. She didn't have an answer for that. On day 11, Andrea called. We're ready. Okay. The process server will deliver the papers tomorrow at her office, 10 a.m. Good. Nathan, she said, after she's served, things are going to get ugly. She's going to be angry. She's going to try to negotiate. Don't engage. Let me handle it. I will. And one more thing. Change your locks. Today. I did. The next morning, I went to work like normal. At 10:15, my phone buzzed. A text from Lauren. What the fuck did you just do? I didn't respond. Another text. You can't just serve me at work. Do you know how humiliating that is? I turned off my phone. At lunch, Andrea called. She's been served. Her lawyer just reached out. They want to meet. When? Friday, 2 p.m. I'll be there. The meeting was in Andrea's conference room. Lauren sat across from me with her attorney, a man named Paul something. Slick suit, too much cologne. Lauren's eyes were red. She looked smaller than I remembered. Paul started. Mr. Cross, my client is willing to negotiate a fair settlement. No, Andrea interrupted. We're not negotiating. We're presenting terms. She slid a folder across the table. Mrs. Cross committed adultery. We have documented proof. Text messages, photos, timestamps. Under North Carolina law, that affects her claim to alimony. Paul opened the folder.
His face tightened. "This is ironclad," Andrea finished. "Your client had an affair for 2 years. She used marital funds to finance hotel stays with her lover. She's not entitled to alimony. She's lucky we're not asking her to reimburse my client." Lauren's voice cracked. "Nathan, please." I looked at her. "You made your choice, Lauren. Now live with it." Paul tried to regroup. "What about the house?" "We're selling it," Andrea said. 50-50 split after the mortgage is paid off. Mrs. Cross can keep her car, her retirement account, and any personal belongings. Mr. Cross keeps his truck, his retirement, and his tools. "That's it?" Paul said. "No alimony? No support?" "She makes $85,000 a year. She doesn't need support. She needs accountability." Lauren was crying now, full sobs. "Nathan, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry." I didn't respond. Paul looked at his client, then at the folder. "We'll need time to review. You have 48 hours, Andrea said. "After that, we file a contested divorce and make this public. I don't think your client wants that." Paul's jaw tightened. "We'll be in touch."
They agreed to the terms. The divorce was finalized 60 days later. The house sold in 3 weeks. We split the proceeds. Lauren moved to Charlotte. I heard she and Derek didn't last. Apparently, affairs don't translate well into real relationships. I stayed in Asheville, bought a small house in the mountains, 1 bedroom, big porch, view of the Blue Ridge. I got a dog, a rescue mutt named Hank. He's good company. I still work construction, still wake up at 5:30, still fix things that break. But now when I come home, the house is quiet, in a good way. No tension, no lies, no wondering. Just peace. 6 months after the divorce, I was at a coffee shop downtown. I was reading the paper when someone sat down across from me. I looked up. It was the florist, the woman who delivered the flowers to the motel. "I'm sorry," she said. "I don't usually do this, but I've thought about you a lot since that day." I set down the paper. "Yeah? I just wanted to know, are you okay?" I thought about it. "I am." She smiled. "Good. You deserve to be." Her name was Claire. She owned the flower shop. We talked for an hour, then 2. She didn't ask about the divorce, didn't pry. She just listened. When we left, she handed me her card. "If you ever need flowers, or coffee, or just someone to talk to." I took it. "Thanks." I called her a week later. We've been seeing each other for 3 months now. It's slow, easy, honest. Everything my marriage wasn't. I don't regret sending those flowers. Some people said it was petty, cruel even, but I don't see it that way. I see it as the moment I stopped being a victim and started taking control. Lauren thought she could have it both ways, the stable husband at home, the exciting affair on the side. The flowers were my way of saying, not anymore. Not with anger, not with drama, just with truth. And truth, I've learned, is the most powerful weapon you can wield. If you've ever been betrayed, if you've ever had someone take your trust and shatter it, if you've ever had to rebuild your life from the ground up, this one's for you. You don't need revenge. You don't need to scream or break things or make a scene. You just need to know your worth, and then protect it. Comment, "I know my worth," if this story hit home. Hit subscribe for more stories about men who chose dignity over destruction. Because the best way to win isn't to fight dirty. It's to walk away clean.